Hello, this is Eric Moore, the Executive Director of the Cornelius Youth Orchestras, and today I am sitting with Sam Sparrow, our woodwinds specialist here with our artistic faculty at the CYO. Sam, thank you so much for joining me today. We are looking forward to learning a little bit more about you. I'd love to share with our listeners what your journey was like with music. What drew you to when you got started? How was that process for you?
You know, it's interesting. I was a very musical kid, but looking back, I wouldn't say it was a lot of formal music. I sang in school choir, church choir, and I was fortunate to be able to take piano lessons as well. But I never really enjoyed the piano lessons. I didn't hate it either, but it was sort of fun. But then I hit a point where I wasn't really interested in it. And then when it came time to sign up for band in 4th grade, I actually chose choir.
Oh,
and for some reason, band just wasn't speaking to me that year. But then in 4th grade, I really did not enjoy choir. And so the only way to get out of choir was to join band. And it's sort of a funny journey because when I signed up for band, I first wanted to play the flute. And then that didn't work out. The band director said, no, we have too many of those. Then I said, well, if I can't play flute, how about percussion? And my parents vetoed that. We're not having drum kits in the house. And so clarinet seemed like a great third place option.
hey, wow. So a journey to get to the clarinet of trial and error, right?
Definitely. But what's funny is because I was joining band a year late, the summer right before band started, I thought, I have all this catching up to do. So I started private lessons and I was working super hard to try to catch up. And I think that was a big part of my journey where once I started clarinet, it was a pretty quick trajectory of really falling in love with the instrument and really starting to make it my own.
Well, I could kind of speak to that in my own personal story in some way because I started the violin much later than when I wanted to start. And I think that created this desire to really push and work hard, So that's incredible. So now, middle school band, was that something that you found once you found the clarinet? Is that something that was exciting to you? What was your journey from middle school all the way to college? And how have you become, what was your process of becoming a professional clarinetist?
Sure. Well, I really, really enjoyed middle school band. I was fortunate to have a great band director. And also I found such a great group of friends in band as well.
Yeah.
But for me, what I really fell in love with was actually orchestra. I was fortunate in 6th grade to join the local program, the Durham Youth Orchestra, and they were a little low on numbers, so they actually threw me right into the high school group. Wow. And I'd only been playing for a year.
No way.
And the music was difficult. The first semester was Mozart Requiem. And I remember bringing home the music and just crying my eyes out, being so overwhelmed. I've never seen 16th notes before.
Yeah.
But my private lesson teacher was also such a big part of my journey. Jimmy Gilmore, he's now retired, but he was principal clarinet of the North Carolina Symphony for over 40 years.
Wow.
And he was so great to help me sort of work through it. And then from middle school onwards, I was so in love with playing an orchestra. Then I went to various summer camps. I then moved to the bigger youth orchestra program at Raleigh.
Yeah.
And from there, it just became clear by late middle school, early high school that music was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, incredible. So the summer festivals and the camps and things along those lines, those can be really formative. And talking to several of our other artistic faculty members, it seems like some of their most pivotal musical moments happened at those times. Which festivals were you at that you went to?
I went to so many, but each one of them was such an important stepping stone.
Yeah.
The first one I went to as a 6th grader was UNCG Band Camp.
Okay.
The next year I went to one at School of the Arts. Unfortunately, I don't think that program's still there anymore, but they had a great orchestra program at the time.
Yeah.
And then I did 2 summers at Canon Music Camp at App State. No, that was such a great experience. The cool weather in the summer. The music was great too, but just to escape the heat.
That's their biggest selling point. Escape the heat. Come spend summer with us.
And then I did 2 summers at Interlaken, which were really formative. I have friends I met there I still keep in touch with to this day. And then right before college, I was really lucky enough to be in the very first ever National Youth Orchestra of the U.S.
Wow.
And that was such a cool experience. It was this orchestra, we came together, it was the first year, so we didn't know quite what to expect. But Carnegie Hall was the spearhead behind that, and we ended up the very first year we toured the UK and Russia.
No way. What an incredible opportunity. How was the process of auditioning for that? I'm assuming it was a fairly high bar, maybe a little bit of nerves.
Well, it was interesting because it was the first year, we didn't really know, like, what is the level they're looking for. It was a recorded audition.
Okay.
So you had to play a solo and a few excerpts and then answer some questions about yourself.
Yeah.
But I remember recording it and just sort of thinking, well, I don't even know what this program's for, but let's send this off and see what happens. And it became such an amazing experience. I mean, getting to take music across the world.
Incredible. And what age were you at this time?
I had just finished senior year and about to start college.
So right there. Wow, that's incredible. What a cool opportunity. And then your college journey with music, how was that influential and impactful in your life?
Oh my gosh, I was so lucky to go to Manhattan School of Music in New York. And at Manhattan School, because the only thing they offer is music performance, everyone that's there is so focused, so energized, everyone's working towards the same goal.
Yeah.
But such a big part of my education, too, was being in the city of New York.
Yeah.
I got to usher for the New York Philharmonic as my side job.
Incredible.
Which was so cool because you get paid to go to New York Philharmonic concerts. And so getting to see them week in, week out, of course, taking advantage of other opportunities like the Met Opera, like Broadway, just being able to see all these professionals playing at the level that you're working towards was so inspiring.
Your the exposure to the higher level of music kind of raises the bar of your own internal standard of your own playing.
It's funny because you'll have your lesson with your teacher and you're thinking, I thought I sounded pretty good on that excerpt. And then you go hear them play that same excerpt in concert that night and you think, oh, I've got some work to do.
That's right. Wow, that's incredible. And then, okay, so Manhattan School of Music, what brought you to Charlotte afterwards?
Well, I'm lucky that the job with Charlotte Symphony happened to be open at that time.
Okay.
I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and so Charlotte seemed like a great fit. What's funny is even though I'm from here, I didn't know a lot about Charlotte Symphony because I grew up more with North Carolina Symphony in Raleigh.
Yeah.
But I put in I sent in my resume, showed up for the audition, and this was 3 days before I graduated. I ended up actually being the winner of that job.
Wow.
And so all of a sudden, you're about to graduate. I had other plans, and suddenly all these plans you have, just scrap them. Okay, I'm moving back to North Carolina. Here we go.
That's incredible. Wow. And now, how long have you been serving in the symphony?
I just finished my 7th season.
7th season. Wow, that's incredible. Well, that brought you here to Charlotte, and then just, a year or so ago, we're so lucky to have you join our faculty with the Cornelius Youth Orchestras. Tell us a little bit about what you do with our programs that we offer, and then maybe what your vision is for what you'd like to see as far as our woodwinds are concerned in the CYO.
Sure. Well, I'm fortunate to wear 2 hats with Cornelius Youth Orchestras. I am both the director of our woodwind ensemble and also one of our 2 faculty for Woodwind Challenge. And so I first started off with the woodwind ensemble. I remember when you came to me to sort of pitch this idea, I thought, woodwind ensemble, this is interesting. No one else is really doing this.
Yeah.
And so then it's been such a great learning curve for me, because then you start wondering, okay, well, what are our numbers going to be?
Yep.
What's the instrumentation? And then trying to find music for an ensemble that does exist but is a little bit niche has been such a great challenge for me.
Yeah.
But from the first, we did a trial run of about 2 rehearsals and a concert in the spring right before we officially launched. And then all of a sudden, once we're in the fall, we have a full year to work together. And just the way that the kids have grown and come together as an ensemble and the just community they fostered as well has been such an amazing thing to watch.
Well, I can attest that myself. It's incredibly impressive, the work that you've done with the ensemble from the first concert where we had the official start of the program in the fall to the last concert. Just by the end of the season was just impressive. Impressive is the word that comes to mind. One of my highlights that I got to experience was the house concert that you guys got to do over at the house. What was that? The Torrance house?
The Torrance house.
Yes, yeah, the new Torrance house over here. That was incredible, just like a woodwinds feature. The kids got to play different formats, different chamber ensembles. One of the kids wrote some music that the kids played, and then of course the whole ensemble played as well. It was impressive feat for a first year program.
For an ensemble that a year ago just didn't even exist.
Exactly. So kudos to you, and kudos to the students, of course, as well for their incredible work there. Now, you mentioned the challenge classes, and so for the listeners that maybe aren't aware, what the challenge moniker is what we use for all of our beginning, no experience required programs. So students that are interested in learning an orchestral instrument can come to the CYO, and we can place them in one of these programs, and they can get their start day one working with some of the best musicians in the Charlotte area. Tell us a little bit about Woodwood Challenge and your experience with that, and I believe just share that with us.
Yeah, well, it's such a unique program, our challenge program that we've got. Most youth orchestra programs, they'll have ensembles for younger musicians, but usually they require at least a couple of years experience. What's cool about challenge is that you can come to challenge class on day one. You just got your instrument from music and arts. What is this thing? How do I put it together? What is a saxophone? I've never even heard of this strange object that suddenly is right in front of me.
Yes.
But it's such a great class because not only do you not need any experience, but the point of the challenge class is not only to get beginners to start in their musical journey, but also to make sure they're off on the right footing.
Yes.
So we focus a lot in our Woodwind Challenge about things like breathing, things about posture, technique, getting the best sound, intonation. We're starting with all of these fundamentals, but also we're starting from a place where anyone can join us and hop right in.
It's fantastic, but the goal of focusing on the foundational techniques is really to prevent the having to do the rehabilitation phase that most musicians have to go through.
Definitely, and I mean, playing any instrument, there's so many things you have to refine over time.
Yes.
But getting off on the right foot from the very beginning and starting off with good habits makes the journey so much easier and swifter the further you go. And from then in challenge class, the hope is that you'll stick with us and then you move to our intermediate ensembles, our senior ensembles. And so that way you have a trajectory of somewhere to go.
Yes, pathways of advancement. Yeah, that's incredible. So it has been incredible to see these programs grow. We're excited about our challenge kids from this past season participating in our junior woodwind ensemble this fall. So for woodwind students, we'll have the beginning classes, the woodwind challenge, but then they can graduate to the junior woodwind ensemble and also then go into the senior group, the woodwind ensemble there. And you direct the senior group.
The senior group.
That's correct. And that our colleague Nick Ritter is working with the junior woodwind ensemble. Now, for students that are coming to a class or an ensemble with Mr. Sam Sparrow as the director or the teacher, what can they expect? Are you a tyrant from the podium, or what can students expect?
Oh man, I do think if you were to ask the Woodwind Ensemble about our last year, we have a lot of fun in class, but my big thing is rhythm and togetherness.
Yes.
And I remember especially I spent a lot of time on Brazilian sleigh bells, which was one of our favorite pieces we played. And also, it was so great. One of our volunteers, April Dunn, joined us on sleigh bells. It was a blast. But something like that has to keep the motion and the energy going. All of a sudden, when Christmas starts to run out of battery power, not quite so good. So that's been our big focus, is as an ensemble, playing together, keeping the tempo going, and everyone sort of taking ownership of that momentum as well.
Yes. That's and then what about for the beginning students that are just getting started? So they're coming to learn how to play an instrument. What are the expectations for them in a classroom environment that you're teaching?
Sure. The expectation for our younger students is really just that you're coming to class and that you're super engaged. We don't have a lot of expectations about what should you already be able to do by the time you arrive to class, because we're really about starting from the beginning. But we just want to make sure our beginners, they're there to really learn, they're engaged, but at the same time, we're still having fun and sort of just taking this pathway forward.
Incredible. So I have to ask this question because I believe I asked it to the other members of our faculty as well. let's go back on your journey through music. What would give us maybe an example of one of the most impactful points in your journey learning an instrument, and then maybe talk about how it is impactful and how you are a professional musician and also an educator today. Did you have any moments like that along the way?
Yeah, it's hard to even pinpoint one specific moment because it's just the amalgamation of so many great moments.
Yeah.
But for me, it's really about just the community that music builds. You know, for any kid, it's always hard to sort of find the group that you fit in with, find your people. And for me, music, no matter whether it was school band or a festival or wherever I was, you just find all these people that have the same interest as you speak the same sort of musical language. And these are folks I still keep in touch with today. We're still friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, there's been some folks that you might lose touch for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, 10 years later, you run into them because you're subbing in their orchestra and they just started there.
Yeah.
It's amazing just the people that you meet along the way, and just you never know when you're going to run into folks and how your stories keep interacting.
The music community is very small.
Very funny.
So we all have to be at our best behavior. That's awesome. Well, we're excited about this coming fall, and the future of our woodwinds programs. Now, I would like to also mention for students that do play woodwind instruments that are in our woodwind ensemble or junior woodwind ensemble, they also can have the opportunity, pending an audition placement, and of course their scheduling availability, to participate in our other full orchestra ensembles. So our senior orchestra and also our junior orchestra, the Philharmonic, they can participate in that as well. And that is also a critical component. You know, learning within your own instrument ensemble really refines your sense, listening and hear, but then also learning to play in orchestra. Again, it just kind of expands the horizons. Maybe could you speak to the difference between what it's like playing in an instrument-specific ensemble versus in orchestra, and maybe the pros and cons or the different things that you have to pay attention to?
Sure. When we're in either woodwind specific group or really whatever instrument group it is, that's all the same group. You all make sound in the same way. So for woodwinds, you know, we're all using our air and our breath to make the sound. What's interesting is when you start to add strings or brass or percussion into the mix, they make sounds in different ways. And sometimes even just the timing of that. I often find that woodwinds, we have a tendency to be a little bit behind. We get a little lazy breathing. We're not breathing quite fast enough to keep up with the strings or percussion where it's just an immediate sound.
Yeah.
But also going from woodwind ensemble, it's more about blending as a woodwind group. In the orchestra, the woodwind instruments become much more of a soloist, where there's only one or two flute parts, one or two clarinet parts, and you're definitely outnumbered. There's a lot more strings than woodwinds in orchestra usually. And so you've got to be a little bit more confident, a little bit more of a leader.
Yeah.
And sort of put your sound out there, bring that line to life, versus when it's just one group, it's more of a blend. It's a little less soloist.
Yeah, it is definitely a difference. And it's great that for students to participate and have a broad range of experiences in that regard. And as a part of their musical experience, whether they're wanting to pursue music as something that they do with their life, or if it's something that's just enriching what they're going to pursue for the rest of their life, it broadens your horizons as far as that's concerned. Thank you for articulating that. We're excited about the programs coming in this fall. If you are interested in signing up or if you are looking for more information, you can visit our website, www.corneliusyouthorchestras.com. We are still taking registration, so if you would like to take a look at that on our website there, we'd love to chat with you about it. Sam, it has been great. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. We'll look forward to the season coming up this September. We'll see you soon.